Okay, I think against Axe is a little bit harder. I know people have been preferring the Vanguard Blink into Manta builds, even on offlane Axe, but if you go with the Blade Mirror route, it could be really difficult for a Jug in this situation to play. I know it's nice to kill the Phoenix Egg and stuff, but it's still, can go either way. And I love like how Infinity are reacting to these drafts right now. Like there's a Batten pick. It was so good against this one
Oh,
stun Dragon Knight, and also now the Mirana. And then the Axe pick is kind of like, okay, you're gonna pick a melee carry. Now this Axe Blade Mill, that's something that you gotta factor in. And they don't really have a Yule's hero. Maybe Mirana can get one, but by the time she gets one, maybe you've already had like a real hard time dealing with this Axe already.
They go for the anti-mage, which is sort of a classic Medusa counter. I think before the Medusa nurse, where her 15 talent got changed, Medusa usually beat AM in pubs, but now after the change, I think AM matches up pretty well in that, on top of having an Empower.
So you actually do think that AM is like favorable in this matchup now? Because I know from like a lot of players, like they preferred like that Dusa, buy a lot of items, hit the timings faster, run down mid lane with all your teammates, and AM can't find the angle to blink in and fight.
Yeah, usually I like the Dusa side, but I think it depends a bit on the lanes. Like if AM has a good lane, which I don't think he should this game, then I think it becomes AM favored. I think it's like pretty hard to kill. Like they changed the tower TPs, right? So it's harder to
Right.
run down lanes and take the towers. So like the offensive potential of Dusa Linus versus AM, you don't hit your timing as well. Like AM has more time to scale, and eventually like AM will outcarry Medusa. So you're like sort of on a timer.
And they banned out the Ember and the Puck here, so a few catch heroes because right now they've only got the Axe. Do you see anything that Infinity could be picking up to try and deal with this AM, or can like single-handedly make his life miserable?
Honestly, I'm not too sure. So it's probably gonna be DK offlane with Magnus mid. I think that's what they should assume.
Yeah.
And then like they'll, I mean they could potentially change out SG based on the hero, but if it's, I was thinking something like a Crosswex Invoker. Like I think they just need something that rotates because they have
It's banned
Abaddon
out,
Phoenix
right?
supports. Oh, it's
They
it
banned
just
it
got banned.
themselves.
They banned it
Unfortunately.
themselves.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they
Alright.
were actually thinking the Magnus or the DK could have been a support because they banned out two essentially mid heroes on the side of Infinity here last.
Yep.
In my
Maybe
opinion,
Magnus.
at least, I think the DK, I'd rather have him mid and have the Magnus offlane because the DK versus Dusa, it doesn't feel good. Like you're just gonna keep getting snaked. You can't utilize that Dragon Tail in the offlane, and then he's gonna be like under farmed, and you're gonna start lacking damage. Where like a Magnus offlane, you can just play for levels. Just follow your AM around, buff him up, and have your DK play with the Mirana in the mid game as a 2. And they go with an Oracle, a save here. Fate's Edict, I think I've seen quite a bit be a big nuisance for Dusa in the late game, but there isn't a Batten that can kind of counter that.
Is that sufficient to make your lane more acceptable? Because we talked about that, or are we just giving up the lane and trying to go into the mid game recovery for anti-mage with the Empower?
I think the lane's hard. I think they might want to start the bottom there for like 1 or 2 waves. You just have the Oracle Purge into Mirana Arrow. You get some easy kills there. Because otherwise, they needed a mid to like move around, right? Because you have Abaddon Phoenix as your support duo.
That is PP's best hero as well. Like whenever he sees the opportunity, I think we talked about this with it's Bowie, where if he sees an opportunity where a matchup is just okay, and he feels like the matchup is not too hard, he'll pick Void Spirit. He'll force it so hard, and it's working for Infinity a lot these qualifiers. So, the comfort picks really do matter. And there's the mid Magnus you were talking about. Also a bit of a comfort pick here for 4DR. Neither is a great matchup though against Void Spirit. They're just fine. What do you guys think of this draft then? First 1437. What draft are you siding with here?
Oh, it's so hard. It's gonna really come down to PP and what he can do, but I'm not really favoring this DK offlane. I do like the mag mid though against the Void because he can just use Empower and farm the small camp and just get really far ahead. It's tough. It's tough. I think if Infinity don't get pressured by the AM factor in this game and they just play the regular game, they get farmed and just run down mid, they might have the slight edge.
What about you, Aui?
Honestly, I think it's a pretty close draft too. I would prefer to play Infinity's draft, but I think the execution is still pretty hard.
Yeah.
I'm a big Void Spirit hater actually right now. I always see that hero
But
not
look
have much
at
impact.
the skin. Look
Yeah,
at
that is true.
beautiful
Maybe the skin changes it.
Why are you a Void Spirit hater right now?
I think it's hard to play on Burst right now, but the SA region, they have like, I've watched some of the games, they have a little bit of a different meta, so maybe Void Spirit has like higher efficacy in these games, because like at the ESL event and the major, like Void Spirit, you couldn't burst people because they just get healed by Winter Wyverns or Enchantresses, but there's none of those heroes in this game, so it always shifts a bit based on that.
Or I guess
Alright,
Oracle
well-
is kind of hard, but you still got that assassin effect, right? Against the
Yeah.
Oracle that you kind
I
of
mean,
need.
You can jump at Oracle, but honestly, it didn't feel like you could jump at Winter Wyvern. That's what it felt like in the major. Like, he's too tanky compared to Oracle.
Guys, I'm going to let you be as the cast is about to begin. These guys were not just the panelists, they were also the casters for today. So if you guys want to learn about Dota, I suggest you tune in to SG vs. Infinity Esports, casted by the wonderful 1437, accompanied by the unimaginably incredible AUI 2000.
Wow. Curtis?
That's a nice intro.
I can't believe it. We're casting together. You know,
I know.
2000, what was that? 2016. We're playing together, and now we're here
Has it been that
casting
long?
together.
Wait, when was
dude.
Team NP? That was 2017 even, right? Or
Was it 20? Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. 2017. It started in 2016, and then it ended. It was 2016, 2017.
Yeah.
Well, you were there longer than I was.
Yeah, just a bit.
Just a bit.
Just a bit.
It's okay. I hear the pain in your voice.
Yeah, of course.
As you say that.
Dota's a game filled with pain and suffering. That's what makes it so enjoyable for millennials, you know?
Yeah, I think the peak of that team was when we almost beat Peak Wings.
Oh,
right?
at the
right after
tournament?
TI.
Northern
Yeah.
B Arena. Yeah, that was a crazy tournament.
That really was.
We beat
no,
EG. I remember. I was playing Carry Centaur, and we beat them.
They weren't very happy about that. It was like a best of one or something.
Yeah, just some random best of one, and they get cheesed by some Carry Centaur.
Yeah.
All right, so there's some
some good times.
Classic pause in SA. That's what happens
every game.
You know, it's online. You have some internet issues. It's just life.
I was saying to Gary that they should have a betting, like on the betting sites, like which team will pause first. You know, it's literally a coin flip, and then you can just bet on that. I mean, nowadays people are willing to bet on anything, right? So why not include that as well? But we have an unpause here, and we see some movement. 4 heroes on the side of SG running down mid lane with the smoke. They don't really have any initiation, I guess, apart from the Fortune's End, but it's kind of hard to lead with that into an arrow without allowing Infinity to react.
Yeah, especially since they have the Abaddon shield if that comes out. I'm sort of curious. This anime started with an Orb of Venom. I think this tells me that they want to play really aggressive on bottom, and they might get a bottom.
Do. Oh, here it is. There's only 2 heroes here. They can't really help out Arzen. Just waiting for the arrow after the Fortune's End. And they should have enough damage here. Oh, even screw him back. Okay, wait, hold on. Now they're going to take him for a walk, Arzen. It's like, you're going to have to work for this kill here. And this is what we're talking about, right? They don't really have that much damage.
Yeah, they don't. Even though they got a full channel on the Fortune's End into an arrow, like, he's completely fine. He's going to use one tango and be full. So I guess, you know, both teams smoke and nothing happens.
Yeah, I guess Dire were able to get that mid ward out before SG could. And that's going to give them a little bit more information. So they're just going to have to settle for a little bit subpar warding here. The bottom side. 2 for 2 on runes. Everything looks pretty normal. And it's like you called it. You said that Theo, maybe he should play bottom lane. Start with the anti-mage, try to get some pressure onto this axe, give him some free farm before he goes back to the top lane. Yeah, you think they're going to be able to get any kills here?
I think they should at least be able to zone them. Phoenix and Axe aren't that strong at level 1, and I think DK can't really get pressured by Medusa Abaddon. As long as he makes it to the creep wave and he just stands there with Dragon's Blood level 1, they don't really have like any sort of threat. Also, Magnus took Skewer level 1 for that play, right? So that's a pretty big disadvantage.
Oh yeah, that's really bad. Exactly, and look at this Phoenix blocking the arrow angle, so Arzen will not be arrowed here, but he does lose the majority of his mana. And that's pretty much what they want. They just want to zone out this axe, give a little bit of advantage. They couldn't get any first blood or anything, and he's already TP top. You think that's enough?
I think he should have actually stayed for another wave. I think where the wave is for DK, there's no reason he had to come so early. Like, Tavo did a good job getting early equilibrium, and he would have been fine for the second wave too. But it's like a communication decision, right? Like maybe Tavo feels like if I get help now, we can pressure or something, or maybe AM thinks his lane's fine.
Into the tower. Just saw that. And he's just able to do a little bit of damage mid, but it's not going to be a big deal. Yeah, like you said, like Tavo, if he doesn't say, hey, I'm okay right now, you guys can stay bottom a little bit longer, then Theo probably already had an idea that he's going to TP right after just making like one play bot. And if he doesn't get a kill, he's going to TP top anyway, because he doesn't want to like linger too long and let his DK suffer.
Yeah, I really would have liked him to stay for the hard camp spawn at 1 minute, just because Infinity managed to deward the sentry on that camp and have the spawn. So now there's like this pull where you can't keep equilibrium for anti-mage. AM really wants to sit in his tower and use extra armor and regen to CS.
Yep, Phoenix getting a little bit low too in this bottom lane. But if we look at the last hits though, it looks like, you know, Costabil, he's doing okay now, right? In 9 and 2, Axe only sitting at 3, but the wave is in like a really good position for Dire. And I saw earlier, we talked about the D ward. Dire actually put a sentry on the top side, and when SG went to block the big camp, they got a free D ward there.
Oh, that's
so
nice.
A little bit unfortunate. I mean, you shouldn't be doing those plays anyway. Like, you should always expect that the enemy safe lane is going to block your big camp.
Concede, I feel like Medusa's gonna have a really nice lane because of the head start she has against DK, right? You're mentioning that matchup. You just can spam Mystic Snake and DK can't really put pressure. I think that's especially so because they have an Abaddon. They can't chain any Dragon Tails into arrows onto Medusa.
Yeah, and at the major, when you were watching, like, what were the main carries that were being played when DK was starting to show up? Like, what was the lane matchup for the DK, if you remember?
Honestly, I don't quite remember that specifically. I mean, there's a lot of Terrorblade, but it was usually Nigma picking the DK first, and I don't know, it just looked at the major like he was untouchable in lane for some reason, and it slowly got worse and worse.
Yeah, I think when the DK plays against these melee carries, he's able to just like kind of Dragon Tail, deny creeps, and get a little bit ahead of that. And then once he got the level 2 Dragon's Blood, he's kind of like a Timbersaw, right? Just kind of can exist in the lane and be annoying. But now that the range carries are becoming a little bit more popular, I feel like the Dragon Knight's value has gone down quite a bit. And like you said, people are just starting to figure out. It had that surprise factor in the beginning, but not anymore.
For sure. At the major, it was weird. We were talking, like the talent, we're talking about Luna as a counter to DK lane. But one of the carry players on the teams told me that if they pair up DK with like an AoE stun, like a Hoodwink, Lina type hero, then you can get really pressure in the lane just because the Dragon Tail is just such an efficient nuke.
Yeah, it really is.
Keep double stunning and then you can't even survive on Luna and like the range heroes. So I don't know what shifted, but it does seem like in these SA qualifiers, DK hasn't looked as strong in lane. Like Deuce has 30 CS here. Oh, they're killing her though.
Oh, nice arrow right after the stun, and they're gonna get the first blood onto a Dragon Knight. So DK looking good once again, even though the Deuce does have a lot of last hits. And the wave is actually pushing into a Dragon Knight, so he's gonna be able to deny a lot of creeps too.
Yeah, I've learned that's called the caster curse. I compliment Dusa for having 28 CS and instantly dies. Abaddon's off on an adventure.
Yeah, I actually don't know where exactly went there. It looks like bounty. Oh, okay. So he actually went to get the bounty rune, and I would normally not recommend leaving your carry all by himself in a Dragon Knight Mirana lane, because if they see you go for that, they are definitely going to jump your carry.
Yeah, and even if he does this single pull, the wave is so pushed in that Tavo can keep equilibrium here if he wants. Bottom lane?
It is. What's going on? Anti-Mage just gonna do a little bit of damage onto the Axe, and he's gonna back off. And once the Axe has no mana, you know, Anti-Mage, the mana break, not gonna be able to do anything. It's gonna go back. And how do you feel about this lane? There's a point in time where the Axe just becomes unkillable, right? Against the AM.
Yeah, as soon as he has Vanguard, or honestly, even before that, once he has level 2 or 3 in spin, I don't think you can man-fight the AM. Man-fight the Axe as AM anymore. And it's a bit weird. He's going for such an aggressive build, right? Like, he's going Orb of Venom and he's going for a Treads. He's going to a Mask of Death. And that's probably because he doesn't want to get Battle Fairy since he has a Magnus. But usually when you do this build on AM, it's because you think you can win the lane.
Right, and he's gonna look to just kind of go into the jungle with that mask as well, and just sit there for a long time. And like I said, the axe, he's getting closer to that Vanguard, just about 500 gold off. Seeing the river here, PP not gonna get the top rune. Double damage now for ADR, pretty big for him, taking it away from PP, because that's where Void Spirit would have wanted to make some plays on the map, maybe even go bottom and pressure up the anti-mage. Oh, he sees the stack. I'm pretty sure ADR just saw that stack, didn't he?
Yeah, he has a DD. I think he's gonna go for it.
Yeah, I think so too. But, you know, there's a ward there, and ADR doesn't have any vision himself. If you would check Radiant Vision, and he's like, nah, you know what? This looks like a bait to me.
That's a very controlled play. In a pub, I would 100%
really
go for that stack, and honestly, they probably would have brought Void Spirit over and killed me.
Yup,
so props to
I
him.
think so too. And that's one of the strengths of ADR, I feel like. He's very disciplined. You know, he's a veteran. He just hangs out, makes sure that he doesn't want to make any big mistakes for his allies. You know, make the game harder than it actually already is. Yeah, they got a lot of stacks going on the side of Infinity. Holy moly, that Ancients is big. How many is that? 5?
I think that's... Yeah, it has to be 4 or 5. I don't think Radiant can contest that stack right now. I mean,
yeah, they can.
They need Vanguard and Axe to take it first anyways. But now they have some vision on it, so when they go for it, that might be a point of contention later. I'm honestly a bit surprised that Mirana hasn't done any rotations to bottom. I thought her game plan was going to be, like, you can secure AM a little bit of farm, and then since Axe went for a little bit these weird items, he had, like,
top lane, though.
Oh.
They're going to try something. Stun into arrow. Dusa still has a pretty good chunk of mana and 14 wand charges. The 2 TPs are coming in. PP. He's looking at the Dragon right now. He's actually going to go in with the Astro Step into a Remnant. They're dropping a lot of spells onto him. Here comes the Sunray. That's percentage-based damage. Tavo, he's still got 17 wand charges and a raindrop, so he's looking pretty healthy and just going to back up. Lots of rotations from Infinity onto this top lane. Just making sure that Berna will not die or be pressured any further. They weren't really looking to get the kill on the Dusa, right? They were just trying to force the reactions there.
Yeah, and they definitely succeeded in that. If you force TPs like that, and now you can make a play on the other side of the map, I'd really like to see them kill this Axe. Even though he has Vanguard, I think they could bring heroes. They know that Dire has no teleports right now. If Murata rotates and Magnus comes down, he's a dead hero.
I feel like Theo could have just instantly TP bottom as soon as he saw those 4 heroes top. And just go for the Fortune's End into an arrow play onto this Axe here. Mag is moving towards the Ancients. Wait, this could be it. They got that nice ward inside the Ancient camp too. I don't think Infinity saw it when they dropped the sentry.
They're gonna go for Axe here.
Yeah, they're gonna go for the Axe instead.
There's only a TP on Abaddon.
Yeah, he's out of mana right now. So Anti-Mage not doing as much damage. Abaddon, it might just be enough. Vanguard a little too OP here. With that Berserker
He doesn't
call.
have RP. I thought they were gonna have that. I didn't even see that.
Yeah,
I think if they have RP there, then they get that kill.
Right, level 4 in power, 3 in shockwave, RP into an arrow. It could have been close with the Aphotic Shield, unless you think they could have got a nice skewer away from the Abaddon and kill the Axe off.
I think it probably still would have been close even with the skewer, but if...
Yeah.
Oh, it feels a bit awkward to go for that play if you don't have RP. Oh, they're going for RP.
Oh, there's the RP now. The arrow is gonna land. He's not gonna be able to get the dissimulate off, and that's a pretty nice kill onto PP. And they're gonna get the stack that's here as well right after. That nice ward on the top side of the jungle that was securing these stacks. Gonna catch off PP, and they get a nice kill there. So it looks like the Void Spirit is gonna be the first to die. And that's pretty significant because Mag, look at him. He's got Dagger almost now.
Yeah, he's farming it up. He's going for a space-making build, and look at Anti-Mage's items. He's going Mask of Madness into Echo Saber. I really like this itemization. If you don't go Battle Fury on Anti-Mage, you need mana regen really badly still, and he's decided that Echo Saber is good for that. It's also just, it seems like a bit of an OP item this patch. We saw it picked up at the Major on a lot of heroes that you wouldn't expect it on.
I would have to completely agree with that. I played a game yesterday against an anti-mage. He had like no farm. He was like level 3 at 6 minutes. He went into the jungle and then he went for this Echo Saber build and just somehow managed to catch up. He had a lot of impact in the fights as well. It's just that slow factor. You can get like 3 or 4 hits off.
I love this.
Just
This
because
Magnus,
of
he's
it.
even ferrying a cell for his anti-mage so he can farm the Ancients. Just dug it up with the shovel. He has an Invis rune and he has his Blink Dagger. He has RP in 15 seconds because he used with Arcane. I'd like to see them go for a smoke with this. They don't need to take a big team fight because they sort of just need to make space for anti-mage on the map. But they do have a good timing here.
So the Dusa also on the other side was able to clean up that large ancient stack, also killed the ward off too. Do you feel like... So SG should have been making a smoke with the blink, I agree. But do you think that the Axe should have also taken that ancient stack over the Dusa so he could have had a blink and they could have been making a play on Infinity right now?
I'm not too sure. Like, in my head, what you said potentially makes a lot of sense. But if Axe is confident he's going to get to his item anyway, since he already has Void Spirit...
Yeah.
Free pick
Just a casual Abaddon looking for information in the enemy jungle. Go on.
Yeah, so if he had a different mid that couldn't like make plays and jump for him, I think you would need to give it to Axe. But since he has a Void Spirit, he can sort of start the fights and Axe can just follow up. This way you can sort of accelerate your Medusa. And Medusa, she's even going for Yash into Butterfly. This is a pretty extreme build, to be honest. It's very anti-AM focused.
Axe gonna get jumped here with the Tavo's blink reveal into an arrow. Shockwave, lots of magic damage coming out. Abaddon TP's in, but it's a little too late since he did die and he was in the base. And now they're gonna go for this tier 1 tower. It looks like the anti-mage team is gonna be the one to make the rotation onto the mid tower first here. They got that blink mag too, so the double blink daggers. They feel very confident with that right now. You can see the Mirana and Oracle positioning towards the Ancients area. So if Infinity, even they do defend this, they could just go over and steal the Ancients. But they're not going to do that. They're going to jump in. TP going to get shielded. Now they get the Skewer onto the Phoenix. RP kills him off, so he can't get that Supernova. Dudes are going to use a Snake. They're just trying to push him off this mid area of the map. Burna, you know, he can't really farm if his team is constantly getting pressured. An anti-mage, he wants to steal the Ancients right now. They're going to jump in onto the Void Spirit. Shield comes off. He's going to get the Dissimulate. Going towards the Oracle. They're jumping the Oracle right now. Burna. Stone Gaze. And it looks like Oracle's just going to get away with the False Promise. Is that enough damage, though?
No, they're still going. Like they're ready.
No? Yeah, they actually, exactly. They still feel confident to fight right now. Dragon Knight, he still got that Dragon Tail. Call comes on to 2 heroes. Burna, he has no mana, so it doesn't matter. Just dies to that mana void. And now Arzen also in a lot of trouble. He's also going to take a fall. This is looking so rough. Have you ever seen an anti-mage lineup be this aggressive?
No, you can really see why people regard SG so highly in scrims, right? I think scrims are an environment where you play fearless like this. And SG, maybe they had some nerve issues in the DPC seasons, but you can clearly see they solved that because they're playing without fear here. They're just going in. You see anti-mage coming at like 11 minutes to take the enemy tier 1. You're playing a really high tempo game with heroes that are supposed to scale and they're itemizing for it. It's really impressive to see.
And they're playing that in and out game so well too, right? It's like one time they start with the Dragon Tail, then the shield comes up, then the Magnus goes in with the Skewer the second time around. So you can't really help everybody. And then you got this anti-mage with 140 damage just running in and fighting. He's also got like almost 1.5k health thanks to that Echo Saber plus the power treads. Like this is not a weak AM
at all. He took the strength talent too. When he goes on strength treads, he's 1600 HP. He's a beast. Like with Oracle to back him up and lifesteal, this guy can dish out a lot of damage in fights. This build with Magnus is just looking like the correct items. He's going for Manta now, I think. I really like it too. It's so sick.
This is so impressive. This is actually incredibly impressive what they're doing right now. And it takes very smart individuals to be confident enough to do this as well. Like, not only do you need to understand the build, but you also need the confidence to be able to go for it.
I mean, imagine if you go for this type of build and you don't make those aggressive plays into mid. Maybe it looks a lot worse because you're not farming as fast, right? You're building these items that make you tanky and you can fight early, but you actually have to use that, and your team has to like communicate in a way where like, hey, even though I'm anti-mage, we can still fight. Because these players, they play a lot of pubs. Like, I see anti-mage, he's gonna farm, not this guy.
And it all came off the back of those double blink daggers. Meanwhile, on the side of Infinity, their blink hero is still only sitting at 2,000 gold, TPing out of the top tier 2 tower.
This is like the most poor Axe I've seen since like he started to become in the meta. I think it all sort of ties back into that first move at bottom. Like personally, I didn't think it was enough, but SG played the lane well enough that they've really shut this Axe down. They moved around the map. Like I saw him have to TP from his farming area bottom to his own shrine. and he just hasn't had any impact this game.
And normally you would see Axis go for the level 2 battle hunger and pressure the enemy safe lane, but one, there's an Oracle, two, there's an anti-mage who's just constantly burning your mana. So he only had like one battle hunger in the lane, and then he just had to play off his counter helix, and that just wasn't enough. So they're gonna get this top tier 2 tower, it looks like, with Tabo. And that's gonna open up the outpost 16 minutes into the game. I can't believe an AM lineup just took a 16-minute outpost.
Yeah, they're playing crazy well. I do want to know... Oh, they're going for a smoke here. They have their Blink Dagger, and this is the right play. You're behind like this, you have to make a sort of... You have to, like, overwhelm them at a tower and do an unexpected jump. Because if you take a straight fight when you're down 5k at 60 minutes, you're never going to win it.
And Berna was also pushing the bottom lane out. There's a catapult down at the tier 2. They're actually surrounding the bottom tower here. SG, are they going to defend this tower? Or they're going to just pop the glyph? That pretty much buys them about 20 seconds before the next creep wave comes in and Dusa starts poking that. PP gonna cut the mid wave too.
This is sort of the hallmark of a good team by SG, right? Even though they're ahead, they understand that the only way they can lose this game is if they fight into the enemy vision. Like, they can smoke
and they're smoking into them.
Once the lanes are good, you know, you have some pressure on top. Now someone might TP. But if you go in there like and wander in, it won't be good. Oh, they have AM2.
And here it is. Sexy Yogi gonna get jump first. No more mana, so they don't have the shield available anymore. Axe gonna jump the backline. They're onto the Oracle. The egg comes off too. Oracle is actually dead thanks to the dunk there. And with the egg, they're just gonna protect that with the Stone Gaze too. And they got the Mirana, who was trying to get rid of the Supernova. And they're gonna lose two supports. Oracle also buys back. Infinity are looking still pretty healthy. Sexy Yogi though, gonna get jumped by Costabile. Axe, he did not decide to blink and call that. They're gonna turn this around. ADR, Shockwave into a reverse polarity stun onto this Dusa. Dusa is out of mana now. Anti-Mage going in on her. Mana Void. Oh, so much damage onto the Voice Spirit as well here. Voice Spirit now on the run. Mag does take a fall though. PP is not gonna be enough. And it looks like SG are gonna be quite happy with this trade right now. He's moving forward. I don't think he's gonna be chasing the Axe. They lose the Mag, but those are bigs.
Yeah, and I think that fight, it sort of started bad for SG, but as you were mentioning, their team fighting is just on another level. They're very good at sort of stalking their opponents, sort of keeping in range and poking them. And eventually, the anti-mage scale comes in and he's able to get a good mana void off. If they're impatient, they just try to take that fight head on. I think they lose that fight.
I think so. It's like you and Arzen, he's in a lot of trouble too now. They don't have the arrow, but I don't think he's going to chase with that. Yeah, Vanguard still a little too tanky. Kosovic is going to go back and push the lanes out and continue to farm with that Magnus. Like you said, they baited the Nova, then they already went with the jump on the Axe. The Dusa also popped her Stone Gaze. So all the big team fight spells on Infinity are on cooldown. Infinity decided to stick around because they felt like, oh, we got the numbers advantage. But then they're not really stronger than SG at that point because SG still had all their spells.
Yeah, actually, they also used the buyback factor, right? Even though the Oracle got picked off, he was able to buy back and come back into that fight. You sort of take a 6v5 even when you're ahead in gold. The gold might have sort of a little bit to Infinity there, but the thing is the net worth becomes on the wrong heroes because Dusa dies and AM gets a lot of net worth. He's just going to pull ahead.
Exactly. And now he's got an Aegis, 19 minutes in, going for a Scotty next year.
That's a good item.
He's incredibly tanky. Yeah, so good, especially against that Phoenix Sunray. It's gonna be solid. You got the Abaddon with the Miscoil too. This Abaddon is just level 7 AI. My goodness.
Yeah, he's having a rough one. Scotty's also just really strong against Medusa because she doesn't do that much damage. Like, anything you can do to slow her attack speed or attack damage really slows out the hero. They have the Breathe Fire and the Scotty, and she doesn't have a Mantis Cell to remove it. It's only the one Abaddon shield.
Yep, and looks like KJ just gonna get picked off here on the top side as Infinity make their way through their jungle. Tabo, he does have a BKB, and he sees Sexy Yogi walking over here. Actually, I'm not sure if he saw him. It was during the night. So he just gets a nice sneaky ward on the top side.
Call into Magnus middle.
Yeah, it doesn't really look like they can do anything with this as they see the Abaddon right beside the Axe.
I feel like the damage on Infinity is really weird damage. Like, you don't have the normal bursts that a lot of teams are picking with Hoodwink or even some Ursa type hero. They have to, they're the ones who sort of, they need to like take a small engagement, maybe burst one hero off the voice right axe, and then like try to bait SG into fighting into their big egg and stone gaze combo. But how SG have been
Right.
playing, it won't be easy at all.
I'm just impressed that SG are able to go do this in and out gameplay against an Abaddon with the Dragon Knight. Like every time I see DK against the Aphotic Shield, it just feels almost impossible to play against. But they're able to like manipulate the cooldown of the spell and like use the other skills to like bait it out too.
Yeah, it's smoke out here for SG. I think another thing to mention just before they fight is that they're not really afraid of just RPing one target in these fights. You know, if they see like a key hero in the mid fight earlier, it's just a Phoenix. They just skewer RP them. In the bottom fight, it's just Dusa. They're fine with casting their spells because they understand if they can kite out the fights, burst down key targets, they will win the fight that way. Just kite it out.
Exactly. Just outnumber them. And that's something like especially pub players don't understand. When they play heroes like Magnus and Enigma, they're like, oh, gotta go for the big black hole, you know, like highlight reels. But sometimes to win a Dota game, you just gotta use your big teamfight spells on one guy. Got a Scotty almost. Bottom side, we have SG just split pushing, Infinity trying to do something up there on top. It feels like Infinity are just completely dodging SG. Well, they're kind of both dodging each other, but obviously SG's a little bit faster because of that Empower.
Yeah, they just have a little bit more building damage than Infinity do on SG's side. I think that means that they'll be able to force Infinity back to base. You don't really have that much kill threat on this AM, to be honest, and even this DK is incredibly tanky with BKB.
Yeah, they're gonna touch this high ground right now. They're forcing Infinity back into the base. DK pops his Dragon from that. There it is. Tier 3 tower just takes a fall like that before Infinity can even get a single hero back into their base.
And this is honestly top tier play from SG. Like they force them back, and they know the enemy's smoking. They know they're desperate to defend this. They just use 5 TPs and lost all map control. Don't give them the fight. Just wait a bit. You know, we're gonna take a higher percentage fight on our vision without them being able to like buy back in their base and stuff. This is really good decision making for SG.
Yeah, and look at Tavo right now. He's like breaking the smokes. He want to be the first contact with that BKB if Infinity ever do decide to take the engagement. How bad would it be if the Axe just blinked and called this Dragon Knight, and then the anti-mage just has the freedom to go on whoever he wants to?
Yeah, that sounds like a rough fight. Although, to be honest, I feel like from Infinity's side, the teamfight conditions are very hard. Like, they're...
Yeah.
I guess maybe you need like Voicer to go in and create chaos so you can get a multi-man call or something, because I don't see how they win these teamfights right now. You need SG to
especially
overcome
playing
that.
from behind. Stabile gonna blink straight forward with that Aegis. He feels quite confident. Moonlight Shadow also coming out here. He's gonna blink now again onto PP, just forcing those Astral Steps. He's got those spells on cooldown now. So actually saving his Oracle in some ways by doing that. Arzen gonna be the next one getting jumps. He pops his Blade Mail with the call. AM losing a lot of HP. I don't think he's gonna care too much as Axe does have to go back to the base, possibly to heal up here. Now he's gonna jump onto the Abaddon. Abaddon out of mana. His borrow time is on cooldown too, so he's gonna take a fall here. Kostabir gonna blink out. Still has that Aegis. And they're gonna reset. Alright.
5 seconds.
The discipline
left
from
on the
SG.
Aegis. They're playing so clean. It doesn't feel like Infinity ever have a real chance to jump and get a fight that they want. So SG sort of understand that if you have better lane shove and you're ahead in net worth, you always get to choose your fight. You never have to give their enemy the fight they want. Here we go.
Dusa. She's gonna get skewered in. She pops the Stone Gaze. They're actually resetting right now. They want to kite this Stone Gaze out first. Phoenix gonna be the target. Dragon Tail comes through. Phoenix gonna die before she can pop the Supernova. Burn now. Anna. That Butterfly keeping her alive just a little bit long, but nope. Doesn't even matter. Gets bursted. KJ gets the last hit. And now they're turned their eyes onto the Void Spirit, who's gonna take a quick fall as well. And Infinity, they feel so hopeless right now. They have no idea how they're going to be able to win a team fight against this anti-mage. Plus these double daggers, you can just go in and out of the fight so easily on SG.
I think the comms on SG must be so cool right now, because we saw in that fight, if you look at the lineups, you think, okay, AM's going to save his mana void for Dusa. But SG are really good at understanding their objectives in the team fight. Even if they have to blow the mana void onto just some support Phoenix, they'll do it just to win the fight. You know, they'll blow RP onto one hero just to secure the kill. They'll blow Mana Void on a non-ideal target because they understand that if they take out some heroes from Infinity, all of a sudden they can kite them and sort of stalk them down with ease. They'll never get away against the Skadi anti-mage.
Yeah, and it's a concept where you just finish the hero that you go on, right? Don't save it for something else. You finish that hero. Now you make the fight 4 versus 5. You can keep going for the next target, and you just gotta trust that you will find the damage to get the next person. Because if you, like you said, the void doesn't go off, if this Phoenix gets like a stick off plus the supernova, and now all of a sudden the fight just looks very awkward.
Yeah, for sure. It's just very clean. This is probably some of the cleanest team fighting I've seen. I just watched ESL in the major, honestly. I think
Yeah.
their Dota theories are just very solid. I mean, they're never too greedy, you know. They're always patient and ready and waiting for like what they think their best opportunity is. I can really appreciate seeing that.
Well, I think SG, they've found their identity at this point. I remember watching in season 2, Costabile, he was extremely uncomfortable in a lot of the carries that he played. Most of the time, it was just the rest of his team that was kind of carrying him through. But this time around, this anti-mage, like, he's showing gameplay that we haven't seen in a really long time, especially on anti-mage.
No, I think everything he's done this game has pretty much been perfect. Like, even with us with full vision, I don't think we can criticize any decisions he's made so far.
Damn, that's a high praise from a TI winner right there. And also a carry advocate, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, I'm just so impressed that he comes to these fights at 11 minutes on the anti-mage, you know? He goes for these items that allow him to put pressure, take the map away from the Medusa. Usually how it works in this matchup is anti-mage is stuck farming, and Dusa sort of has map control, pushing aggressively. But he manages to reverse that, and all of a sudden, he has better early game because of his decisions, and he's going to scale better. It's just such terrifying gameplay coming out from him.
And the heroes that he's jumping have been perfect too, right? Like going on the Abaddon, removing all of his mana, then getting out, then going on the Axe, removing all of his mana, making them pretty much have no angle of team fights to take because of it.
Yeah, for sure. We even saw him just jumping
so
a Void Spirit, just forcing out one ultimate, you know? It's good enough.
Yeah.
You just lower the enemy's resources, make them feel bad. Oftentimes, if you feel bad in Dota, that's when micro mistakes happen and they can take a good team fight.
This aggression, like when Infinity drafted his lineup, they were probably thinking, oh, we have an Axe. This anti-mage is not going to have a good time. Our Axe is going to get free farm, and then he's going to get his items and going to own the AM. But then, you know, just that one Mirana showing bottom, making it awkward, giving the Axe a bad time just for like that 30 seconds, just kind of shifted the game in itself here.
Yeah, for sure.
Adding on to your point of feeling bad in games.
I will say though, the Axe, he went for some, since we have some pause time, I think something that Infinity didn't recognize is they didn't recognize their sort of win conditions for their lanes. Like, Axe's win condition in lane was just to finish a Vanguard. And instead he bought like Windlace and Wand and all these small items before he finished that. As soon as he gets Vanguard, theoretically he should be able to kick AM out of lane. So I think this is also part of the reason. Like, SG are playing fantastically, but there's been a few mistakes on Infinity that sort of let them snowball. If Axe wins bottom lane, AM can't make these moves at 11 minutes and put pressure on his opponent because he'll have lost the lane.
Yeah, and in Dota, like, those small things are extremely important, especially at this high level of gameplay. I would have to completely agree with you. Like a Windlace Magic Stick, that's more than 400 gold right there. That could have been towards your Vanguard. That would have just wrecked this AM, made him unable to lane, and maybe even kick him out of the lane a minute faster. And that could have been Axe having his freedom, you know, maybe pressuring with a catapult and such. But it also kind of goes back to my previous point. Like, maybe they should have gave that Ancient stack to the Axe, so he's online faster to get that dagger.
And I can see what you meant with that now.
Yeah, and he could have made more space for his Dusa that way. But right now, it just feels like Dusa just running around the map, TPing around, and that's not the way that she likes to play. Against AM, she needs to be ahead too.
Yeah, honestly, I don't think Dusa wins games when you're even versus AM generally, right? And this is down 14k with AM being up 3k on you.
Really rough. We talked a lot about the anti-mage, but Tavo, ADR, like, these guys have been spot on too with their gameplay. This position 3 Dragon Knight, even though he was not in a favorable lane matchup, he's done his job. Like, he's so farmed 3-0 and 9 as well. He's jumped good targets. He's played around the Aphotic Shield very well here. see a little bit of a downtime at the moment as Roshan has spawned, and this is what SG are angling towards, but they don't want to give Infinity that team fight, right? They're kicking them out of the mid area, controlling this top jungle side where Dire wants to sit when Roshan is up, and then they're going to go into the pit and do it.
Yeah, for sure. And they have the map advantage just because they have this bottom racks. Infinity, they know it's a bit desperate now. They have to go take a fight right away before the map pressure comes
the smoke. They go onto the Axe. Sorry, Axe goes onto the AM. AM just turns around and hits him anyway, and hit backline RP onto 3 heroes. The Sexy Yoke with the borrow time, allowing the Phoenix to get the Supernova off, and Tawa just gonna back off with that BKB. And they're just gonna reset on the side of SG, and now they're gonna go back in as the Supernova has ended. Stun onto the Dusa. There's no more shields available, so she's losing all of her mana. She does have a Daedalus. She's trying to right click, but doesn't matter. The disarm comes out. Can't do that either. She takes a fall now too. Abaddon trying to buy back and walk down the mid lane, but it doesn't matter because the fight is already over. They don't even need the Roshan. Just gonna walk down mid and end the game. That's their goal right now. Phoenix gonna buy back. Also the Void Spirit. Not sure exactly what they can do here, but that was such a nice fight. As the Axe goes in, Magnus goes onto the backline, stuns up 3 heroes.
And you saw, even though
RP make it very awkward.
They pop double BKB, the Phoenix eggs, they instantly disengage. Like, they're not like hanging around because they have BKB. Axe trying here though.
Yeah, I guess a call on to Mag. Mag in a really awkward position up, but the Face Edict, you know, you're not jumping the Oracle. Oracle still has that False Promise available, so it's not even close to killing that Mag, to be fair here. PP. Just gonna back off, and it looks like SG are gonna also retreat here. They're gonna go back for the Roshan most likely, as the Dusa is gonna be up in 10 seconds, so they get the second side of racks, and gonna be very disciplined. Get the big Rosh objective, also has a shard on it.
Do you know who in-game leads for SG? I mean, it's probably more of a team thing too, like most Dota teams now.
Right.
But just out of curiosity,
right.
you know.
I feel like the way that they're casting spells, like they're all having some kind of, you know, calm stuff. But KJ is the captain of the team.
Okay.
From what I heard, he's the one who has been making a lot of the team decisions and stuff like that. So, are you impressed?
I'm very impressed by their team fighting specifically. I feel like a lot of these fundamentals, like team fighting, are things that you have to develop outside of the game itself. Like, you've talked about stuff like protecting your backline, poking them, stalking them, making sure you don't overcommit, what targets you want to go in. Even for the specific game, like they can talk in this game, they can say, fights are good when we can initiate on 2 targets or bait them in so that they can't Abaddon shield, you know? Maybe you DK stun, they get Abaddon shield, and you RP someone else and burst that guy. Like, it's just very clean and organized how they're fighting. It's also a bit easier when you're up so much gold, but they're just not giving any opportunities to their opponents to come back.
I would have to agree.
Like, look here, they're up so much, and Antimage is waiting for Satanic before they go high ground. Like, he's not in a rush at all.
Yeah, they are playing in the TI qualifiers. Very important, and they're gonna smoke up right now. They're looking to maybe score someone out the base. They do have that horn toss available. They see PP mid. PP just, you know, goes in, clears the wave, zips right out. KG are gonna drop a ward. Now they know that they're gonna. Oh, there's a horn toss. PP gets arrowed in the back, but they also jumping in with the Dragon Knight and the Anti-Mage. A bit split on who they want to go on. Sexy Yoge, borrow time has ended, so he's going to take a fall. He does not have buyback, as he did buyback in the last fight, and they're just going to go straight onto the top racks here. Dusa now going to get pulled into SG's team and going to get exploded. Supernova comes off. Kosabil does not care. They're going to kill that, and GG has been called.
Can we talk about that last fight a bit? Because that game was incredibly impressive by SG, but that fight in particular. So they horn toss skewered back to Void Spirit, and then they had Anti-Mage and Dragon Knight jump the Abaddon so that he couldn't come in and save, while Paul lined up the arrow to the skewer. And then they continued to fight, and their comms were clean enough where Podum was able to pre-click the Yield Scepter onto the Axe with Blademail, who was trying to jump into his team. Like, it's just such an insane level of preparation and execution from them.
Yeah, that was so good. And when you're playing from ahead, like, these are the kind of things that you're expected to be doing, and they're doing exactly that. So it goes to show, like, this team is prepared. They know how to play. They play the map out well. I'm very excited to see what's going to happen in game 2 now. Maybe Infinity, they're going to have to do something that is less predictable, maybe, with their draft. But yeah, we'll see. There'll be a short break right now, and we'll be back with the panel soon.